Good night. Next news. George Bush launches rare critique of Trump. The Telegraph. George W. Bush has issued a rare critique of Donald Trump over his shuttering of the United States Ag&C for International Development, USAID. Below are your comments. Interesting facts. Since fiscal 2001, foreign aid has ranged between 0.7% and 1.4% of total annual federal outlays. In contrast, in fiscal 1963, international assistance amounted to about 4.7% of total federal outlay. Before you give to a charity, check into how much of your donation will be given to the needy. A lot of people are getting rich running these charities in the name of helping the needy. I was no fan of George W. Bush, but I respected the presidency and would gladly take him back, over W. We have now. Every person, including the president, has their own agenda in life, which we may or may not agree with, but at least they have a strategy, some degree of competency and an understanding of how things work. Our current president has none of the above. 35-ish trillion in debt. That is the travesty. Government fiscal irresponsibility is having a huge effect on the quality of life of all American citizens. Get rid of the debt. Improve the lives of Americans and then, and only then, start spending U.S. taxpayer dollars on others. This is entirely the fault of U.S. government, Bush included. I agree with Republicans that there were and are widespread efforts to interfere with our elections. The difference is evidence shows those acts were and are being committed by Donnie and the Republican Party. $2 trillion per year of debt, that is what we are currently racking up. 37+ trillion of debt already accumulated. We cannot afford everything, and if we ever did get serious about balancing the budget, just imagine how much else we would have to cut. That day is coming either by choice or necessity. Closed under the pretense of cutting the budget, but Trump actually makes the national debt worse by giveaways to the 1% who don't need it. He did not know where all of the money was going. He could have investigated how the money was being spent and gotten rid of the waste and fraud. Let other countries do more instead of the U.S. We still do not know where every dollar went. We are broke, we spend trillions more than we have each year. We simply cannot take care of the world. When we collapse under unimaginable debt, not one country will come to our aid. We are rapidly remembering America as what we used to stand for and used to be. The good things we used to inspire in others around the world seems to be over. But now a kind of hatred has overtaken us. We are at the end of our democratic experiment and the American dream. DOJ fired employees when they were clueless about what those employees were doing. DOJ shuttered or downsized agencies when they had no idea what the agencies did. A clueless agency created by a clueless president, and in the end DOJ cost American taxpayers more than they changed his estimate to $1 trillion, and in the end his wall of receipts topped out at less than $20 billion. And now we have understaffed National Weather Service in tornado season, FAA in turmoil, and no foreign aid to foster goodwill for America in foreign countries when we should be critiquing Bush over the war in Iraq, where 4,500 U.S. troops were bleep and an estimated $2 trillion spent on the Iraq war, plus the hunt for Iraq's weapons of mass destruction that never existed. Or should we be critiquing Biden for his failed and embarrassing withdrawal from Afghanistan, resulting in the loss of 13 service members while Biden is staring at his watch? We need to take care of our citizens first before saving the people of the world. The U.S. Constitution mentions nothing about giving financial aid to foreign governments to help their citizens. If we must give foreign aid, it must be a one-time thing. We can't have foreign governments relying on a continuous stream of foreign aid from the US to service their people. These three all have very big bank accounts along with many of their associates. They should start doing their own fundraising for their pet projects instead of forcing a country to go further into debt. It is not the American taxpayers' responsibility to take care of the entire world. I like W but disagree on this one. It is long past time to shut down the US ATM to the world. One would have to assume there are adults all over the world that can handle their business. Past presidents on both sides of the aisle know we have a misfit in the White House. It's too bad for the country that the Senate and House Republicans are just letting him get by without challenging him in any way. Only a handful of Republicans have the courage to disagree with him. Sad time for our country. Bush and his father got into 2 wars with Iraq, where we had a lot of Americans bleep, and an Iraq tea hat is even worse than before. Starting a 20-year war give Bush very little credibility to make the right decision. Please wait a moment. Our country and our US government had a lot of great ideals like this one to help around the world get a leg up. And it worked for a while. Then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. Every day more people with their hands out. To the point where our US government is in debt with no way to pay back that debt. Now you have 8 billion people on the planet. A lot of them born into poverty because their country has failed them. Now what do we do with them? Because they are not going away. And our country's debt is not going away either. Someone thinks every government program is important. It's a dubious proposition, but let's assume every government program is indeed important. Are we going to cut nothing and run ourselves so far into debt that a loaf of bread costs $200 and pensioners are starving, or are we going to cut some of the government programs? The federal government bloat is absurd. It is so easy to spend other people's money. NYC used to have the richest demographic. But probably the DC area has surpassed it. If there was anything bad happening within USAID, why not just correct that instead of shutting the whole thing down? I'm also for cutting costs, and maybe some of their budget should have been cut. But I also recognize the value that the US has brought to itself and the world by sponsoring humanitarian aid across the world over the past several decades. Churches and private charities are way more effective in getting help to those that need it. Given that only 12 cents out of every dollar that goes through USAID actually makes it to the intended recipient, no smart person would use the government as a philanthropy tool. It was turned into mostly a money laundering outfit years ago. Then let people voluntarily donate their money to USAID if they want to keep it going, just don't RCE the rest of us to pay for it. The White House occupant talks a lot about competing with China. He utterly fails to understand that when the United States stops providing aid in various other nations, who steps into that void? China. Do we want a lot of people in other nations receiving help labeled courtesy of? Bush and his illegal Iraq, Afghanistan wars destroyed the Middle East forever, caused literally millions of maimed civilians, soldiers and deaths. The $2 trillion missing is surely in part in Bush family bank accounts. The reason he couldn't find bin Laden is because his family has done business with bin Ladens for decades and they ask that he be left alone. That's why it took Obama admin to find him. Bush is the father of deep state, contrary to the belief that the Dems are. Bush was a partner with high rich globalist buddies and aligned with their goals. The work that USAID does generate a lot of influence for USA that most people don't realize, including buying massive amounts of American goods. American products used to mean a lot to consumers in these countries. Trump overnight has pretty destroyed the goodwill that was built over decades. American goods will diminish in value. They will turn elsewhere. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.